So we had to get out. We just drove down to the bottom of the driveway and headed towards Fair Oaks.
And Harry, now I believe this is close to your first glimpse of your home since the fires. We could take a few more steps further if you're comfortable.
Sure.
I mean, what at this point, can you even believe it? And we are going to be careful right here. There are some down power lines. This is something people need to be really careful about if they are trying to come back into their neighborhood. So we're just going to take a gentle step over these. Harry, what do you see right now?
Well, this house here is gone.
This is a historic and very, very tight-knit community. So many of these homes this year were turning 100. So you could truly say this is a 1 in 100 years fire for this area. Look just to this side here. This is what most of the homes look like. You're looking at 273 West Terrace Street. And just before you guys came to me, you were talking a lot about protections into the night, looting, all sorts of things that Sheriff Luna has warned he will not tolerate. This is what this street looks like. There's nobody here. It's nearly silent. Once it gets dark, there's no power. We've seen a lot of utility crews coming through, making sure that all of these power lines are off. But the thing that is most concerning, Paul, if you walk toward me a little bit here, on this entire street, not a single home survived past 273, except for 281. These are the homes, obviously, that people are concerned about, first responders are concerned about. This is nearly a miracle. If you look closer, they still have a wreath. We're just going to watch out for these power lines. They still have a wreath with its lights on their front door, obviously reminiscent of the holidays that were likely spent here just a couple weeks ago. But again, this is Jane's Village. If we look, you can see all of these homes. They're built as historic cottages, a lot of them Spanish and English style. We're standing in front of 272 West Terrace. Again, this is 272 West Terrace, and we just kind of want to show you the situation. So many of the homes just on this 200 block, I'd say more than a dozen, are down to rubble. But this is something that we're seeing very common this evening. That is a small fire directly on the gas meter of the home. We did see a fire crew come. They tried to put out the fire, but they said, look, it's melted. They are not able to put out fires when they're melted. And so they said it is just going to burn until utilities can come in and cut gas to these homes. It is a very different story here in Altadena today than it was yesterday, the day before. Yesterday and the day before, it was incredibly heartbreaking to see people going to the rubble, to see their homes for the very first time. Some of them, their hands were just covered black with ash. Today, this is what they're met with when they try again. This caution tape, you can see the California National Guard is here. This is a group of residents, desperate to get back behind this line and go see what is left today. Many of them didn't get a chance to over the last few days. It has caused a lot of frustration and confusion, and the only people that we've seen on the other side was somebody whose family was up there. He stayed there last night, and so he left just momentarily to grab a coffee and return. Other than that, it has been a hard stop.
Dana, if you wouldn't mind giving us your location and some of what you've been seeing. We know you've been on the front lines of the Eaton Fire for several days now.
Yep, you know, currently we are actually driving on North Lake Avenue. I'm going to switch this camera around just so that you can take a look. We are right outside of the grocery outlet bargain market. We just passed Calaveras Street. This over to the left, if you can see, I mean, it is as if every other business. To the left, we have a Jack in the Box that's standing. To the right, there was a business that is unrecognizable. Sadly, this was once a burger restaurant known as Everest. Now we are crossing Mendocino Street, and again, it is absolutely devastating here in Altadena. I've spoken with so many residents who are just heartbroken. Right here to the right, Fox's Restaurant. The Fox's Restaurant sadly did not survive this fire. The whole, you know, what do you do now? I think that's the most devastating part of all of this. For so many people, this has been home not only for their entire life, but their parents' entire life, their grandparents' entire life. And so to see it absolutely ravaged like this is, it like, you know, you've heard it a million times, but it just does not feel real. And even the people who say their home survived, they don't know if this is the community, if it's going to be the same, right? Is this what they're going to come back to? Even though their one house survived, every single neighbor that they have, their houses didn't. And so it's definitely something, heartbreak on the mind of Altadena. It's very somber, it's very empty, and there's a lot of heartbreak and confusion and frustration. At one point on Tuesday and Wednesday, embers were being carried 2, even 3 miles away from the body of the Eaton Fire. And that's kind of how you wind up with communities like this, a block that is decimated with just one home that's left standing.
I mean, I saw it start from the bottom of the mountain and it just went up.
Alex Navas says he stayed as long as he could until the smoke was too much to bear.
There was still houses below us that were on fire, the side of us, the left to right, everything is gone. I mean, my property is the only one standing, you know, by the grace of God.
The only house still here in a neighborhood, he says, that was once home to kids, families, pets, now like a scene straight out of a horror movie.
It's gone. My grocery store is gone. My bank's gone.
Friday morning, members of the California National Guard along with CHP weren't letting anyone into the neighborhoods, even with an ID.
We want to see if there's anything left
that we can find, you know, something that's just anything.
When you lose everything, you're yearning for something.
One by one, each homeowner, renter, landlord yearning to see what's still there.
It was crazy. It was like, it's still unreal.
If there's anything at all.
I mean, it's going to be years and a lot of work, you know, but I think we can all get through this, you know, one day at a time.
There is so much love here, and we ourselves have been in the destruction in Altadena for 3 days now. And so to be able to see this, the amount of volunteers who are here, the amount of people coming and getting help and finally looking relieved, a warm cup of coffee, a pastry, it goes a long way in these times. And we want to make it very clear for people what is still needed here. And so we do have a volunteer here. Mark, if you don't mind chatting with us for just a moment,
Sure.
We really appreciate it. Mark, what is still needed here, and what do you guys have more than enough of?
Okay, right now we have more than enough clothes. We have a mountain full of clothes over there, and we appreciate all of the things that you brought here. We have a lot of water here, so we're probably overstocked on that, but we need some non-perishable food, baby food, diapers, and pet supplies.
And Mark, the process for anybody who wants to donate those items, do they just get to drive through here and you guys will help them unload their cars?
Yes, we have plenty of volunteers here. I'd say over 1,000 volunteers here have showed up from the Los Angeles area, as well as from San Diego, Apple Valley, Northern California.
We are standing right across the street from where Jeffrey and Cheryl Koo were when they looked up in this hillside and they saw an electrical tower up in flames. It happened Tuesday night, right as the Eaton Fire appeared to be starting. They say it was their worst nightmare, especially on a night when they just knew things could get out of control.
Hey babe, I need you to come out here right now. We have a very big problem.
I've seen the fires spread so fast, and I knew that with how close that fire was to us, that we would literally have minutes to get out safely.
Cheryl and Jeffrey Koo have lived in Altadena for 20 years. She says she was on her way home from work on the 210 freeway when she looked in the distance and saw an orange glow. As she got closer, she knew it was time for them to pack up and to leave.
Oh no!
Minutes later at 6:25 p.m., the fire grew.
Oh my God.
Then 6:28 p.m., the power lines were completely engulfed in smoke and in flames.
A nightmare horror movie. You just don't ever want to see something like that. And it was so close. That tower is very close to our house.
I'm gonna spray the roof.
By 6:41, Jeffrey tried to spray down his roof, but said the wind was so strong, he's not sure any of the water were even stuck. What it did instead was carry embers straight to their home.
Please God, save us, save our house.
You're not going to be able to control that, you know? So seeing that, I immediately went to this is very, very bad.
According to their video, by 6:53 Tuesday night, they were pulling away from their house under an orange sky, facing what was the unthinkable.
We potentially could lose everything at this point.
Bye.
Jeffrey and Cheryl were able to get to safety along with their 2 dogs, and they say by a miracle, they returned Wednesday to see their home still standing. But of course, it doesn't fully make up for all that's been lost.
From my particular viewpoint, it seemed like that could have been the initial start of it. We're just devastated.
Dana?
Colleen, while people try to grapple with what happened, they're looking for answers as to why it happened. We spoke to a couple just yesterday who say they may have captured video of the first flames that later became the Eaton Fire, and that same video is now being used in connection with that lawsuit you just mentioned.
Oh my God.
Jeffrey Koo says he took this video from his front lawn in Altadena on Tuesday night, right at the time the Eaton Fire appeared to be starting.
A nightmare horror movie. You just don't ever want to see something like that. And he was so close. That tower is very close to our house.
Screenshots of this video are included in the lawsuit filed by Robertson and Associates on behalf of nearly a dozen named Altadena residents. The lawsuit claims the fire in Eaton Canyon was caused by Southern California Edison's power equipment when it created an electrical arcing event, and that led to the fire that spread into the community.
Edison has done better over the years, but obviously there's no margin for error. And here, despite the National Weather Service issuing the highest level warnings that they issue of particularly dangerous situation, of life-threatening extreme fire risk weather, they chose not to de-energize their circuits in the Altadena-Pasadena area.
A spokesperson for SCE shared a statement with NBC4 News in response to the lawsuit. It says, in part, SCE understands that a lawsuit related to the Eaton Fire has been filed but has not yet been served with the complaint. SCE will review the complaint when it is received. The cause of the fire continues to be under investigation. Earlier in the week, the company also said the power lines to the immediate west of Eaton Canyon were de-energized well before the start of the fire, and that they did not find any anomalies in energized lines in 12 hours leading up to its start. Still, they filed a report for the Eaton Fire to the California Public Utilities Commission to investigate.
There's really no precedent for it. The devastation is just hard to wrap your head around when you just look, blocks in every direction, and there's just everything's gone.
The attorney who you just heard from says even though the plaintiffs have insurance, it's more than likely not going to cover all of the costs they've had to incur over the last week. So the hope is for the suit to help cover that remaining gap. Reporting from the newsroom, I'm Dana Williams.